I really thought that this is a win-win solution. I mean, who doesn't want to have to work hard to get students? And, it is a bit of effort that I put into, and I'm, of course, still tweaking my approach to make it as efficient as possible. So, yes, she gets a little bit of insight as well into how the business runs, because we're kind of pioneering this together. I'm leading, but it's totally transparent, and she sort of sees everything that goes on. So I think it's a great opportunity for her as well to gain insight into how do you do business, music lessons online.
Well, hello again, everybody. It's Tim Topham here on the Topcast, your official music teachers podcast. You're listening to episode number 192, and a very special shout out and welcome to my Top Music Pro teachers. Today's show notes and full transcript are available now at topmusic.co/episode 192. And in today's episode, we're speaking with a fellow teacher from Brisbane who has a fantastic story to tell about a very roundabout way that she's been in through her music teaching experience. She had a big break from music. She's actually a trained scientist and studying her PhD. Yes, I know, credible. And she's been able to create this great online teaching business without doing much teaching. In fact, she's not doing any teaching at all. She hires other people to teach for her in this great scalable online teaching model that we're going to unpack in today's episode. So my guest is the founder of theflutecoach.com and a passionate flute player. She's also a mother, wife, part-time PhD student, scientist, lover of zombie movies and Stephen King novels. It's great to welcome to the show, Christie Gallen.
Thank you for having me, Tim. It's exciting.
Very exciting. I've been following your progress online for a little while and very, very pleased to be able to share your story and what you're doing with other teachers. And the thing that most surprised me when we first talked was that you're a trained scientist and you're working on your PhD. And this isn't something I'd normally start a podcast interview with. So you better tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to be the Flute Coach.
Yes, it is a bit of an unusual backstory. So the Flute Coach began back in 2016 now, and it was almost accidental in how I began. So previously to this, I had just finished an online business training course, and it was really exciting, and something entrepreneurial had been awakened inside of me at the time, and I was really keen to get an idea and just test it and see how far could I push something? How successful could I be in this arena? So around the same time, I actually began my first stint of maternity leave. And as you do, you pick up little hobbies and things to do. And so I picked up the flute again. And it was about 15 years since I'd really played since high school. So I dove back in and started to search online for things to play and, some learning as well, coming back as an adult learner. And what I found was that the information that I was finding was really piecemeal and it wasn't always really well presented and easy to find and follow. So I had a little bit of an aha moment at that point, and I thought, how about I implement what I've learned in this course, because I was looking for something to do, and I could combine that with creating an online hub for resources for flute players. And so that website became, I only really intended it to be like a training ground for me, just to learn how to do things. So I began to write articles that were optimized to bring traffic to the website, started recording a few tutorials, learning how to do videos and uploading them, things like that. And then I found with a baby at home, recording things live was difficult. And if you listen really hard to some of my YouTube videos, you will hear my baby just in the background.
Like me with Bronson, the cat. People comment, people are like, where's that's Bronson.
Yeah, so baby Joseph makes a little appearance every now and then. So I thought, okay, this is a little bit of a limitation that I can't quite, get past at this time. So I changed trajectory slightly and began offering online flute courses that were produced by others, so I didn't have to be in front of the camera, and I drew a small commission from offering those, and I vetted them myself and reviewed them and made sure that they were really high quality and something that I would buy myself. But then the real catalyst for the pivot to lessons came, and I changed my model or evolved it again. So with those online courses, they don't belong to me, and so the people that own them and market them, they can change what they do at any time. And so they decided one day, overnight, without warning, to change how much commission that I would earn from them. So even though it was only a little income stream at that point, it was then a teeny tiny drop of income. And so I still offer those courses, of course. There's nothing changed there with the quality, but it was a question of sustainable income, and those were now no longer going to be the source of income for the website. So I had to find yet another solution, and that was offering the online lessons.
Right. Okay. So let's sort of backtrack a bit and go a little bit deeper in some of these. So you had up to about 3 different business kind of stages, I think. The first one was that you started creating content just because you were interested as a returning flute player to get back into it. And so you were searching for things online, and then you were starting to create things as well. Is that right?
Yes. So I began with the articles, and I strategically chose the subject of those articles more towards a beginner sort of lean for returning players, and they were strategically chosen as well because lots of people were searching for this information. So I wanted to sort of passively draw people to the website. So there were strategic subject matters that I chose for those written pieces. Right. And as another backdoor into the website, I then added the video content as well that would demonstrate some of the concepts that were being written about.
Got it.
Learning music is it's a visual thing. Written content isn't always as useful, so I decided to combine the two content approaches.
That makes perfect sense. How did you know people were searching for those things? You said you were quite strategic about it.
Yes. So as part of the online business training that I did, keyword research is an element. And what that means is identifying keywords, single words or phrases that people are typing into Google essentially. So how to play flute, or why does my flute sound airy when I play it? Things like that. And so there are online tools that can help generate a report essentially of what keywords and phrases people are searching around certain subjects, and so the demand for information, and also a sense of competitiveness. So how likely you would be able to rank on the first page of Google, which is, the holy grail, so people can actually find your information. So there's 2 elements. Are people searching for it, and are there so many providers of information that can get like.
We just lost you at the end there, but I think you were talking about the fact that the competitiveness of a keyword is also really important. So if everyone is trying to rank for best flute lesson Sydney, then maybe you could rank for something slightly different. I know that's not what you were ranking for, but...
Sure, that's exactly right. So you can, it will give you related keywords as well. So they may have slightly less search volume, but if they're less competitive and you can pop up in the first couple of Google search results, then that's a better strategic choice. And that's how I began. Yeah.
Well, can you remember what keyword research tool you were using at the time?
I have used a couple. Keyword Finder, I think, is one that I've used, and Uber Suggest is another
I've heard of that.
Free tool. They quite often they have free versions. They are a little bit limited in the output they give you, but you can find them out there, and they can give you just a start and just give you a little head start, basically.
And a lot of these tactics about being found on Google, we actually cover in one of our Top Music Pro courses. It's called Getting Found on Google, which is all about SEO and search and keywords.
So important. Yeah,
really important for free marketing. I mean, no one wants to pay if you don't have to. So it's a good thing to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, this keyword research, it takes a little bit of time and effort, but if you put the effort in, you can start to get that passive stream of people coming your way.
Our stories are very, very similar, I have to say, because I had that very big break from piano for about 10 years. You had a 15-year break. And it was the passion that I came back to piano and then piano teaching at that caused me to want to share stories and articles and then tell people what I was doing that I thought was kind of cool and which lecture did I go to and what I learned at this masterclass and things. Sounds really, but I was not strategic, by the way. Apart from that, it sounds kind of similar how we evolved, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why I'm so excited to have connected with you. It's really fun to share your story and relate to some of the challenges and things with other like-minded musicians. Yes.
Yeah. And it's great to be able to support other teachers who are interested in building their online profiles and offerings and businesses too. So you started creating content and then you started recording videos as a better way to describe what was going on. But then you found some courses that you could promote on behalf of other people. So I was going to ask, where did you find those courses? Because I'm sure this is called affiliate marketing, I think. Other teachers might like this idea.
Sure. So affiliate marketing was another subject area in the training that was touched on. And of course, it depends on your sort of niche area, whether this would be appropriate for you. But for me, it was a great alternative when I couldn't deliver the teaching myself. As I explained, there are some inherent risks to this model in that you do not own the course yourself, and the big decisions and changes can be made without your input and without any control on your part. But it's a really great alternative to offering some fantastic teaching resources that it's completely passive on your part. And for me, it was the right thing at the right time.
I can imagine. I mean, flute teaching is even more of a niche than piano teaching. Where did you did you Google search and find people creating these courses?
Yes. So honestly, it's a little while ago now, but I must have gone into some of the well-known affiliate marketing marketplaces to search for such information. Flute is very niche. There were not a lot out there.
No, I wouldn't have
there
thought
were a couple of providers, but I came to my courses. There's a series of 5, which was part of the other reason that I love this provider. And I found them on Udemy, and I'm sure many people would have heard of Udemy. They are a huge online learning hub, massive in many different subject areas, not just music. So Udemy was where I found the courses that I
didn't know Udemy had an affiliate program, actually. I thought people just bought their courses from them. I didn't know you could refer people to courses.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've learned something today. That's cool. But as you say, it can be a risky business strategy, and you probably wouldn't want to completely go into that. It's a little bit like building a whole business on Instagram or something like that, because you never know quite when Instagram might want to kick you off or close you down or whatever. You want to be in control as much as you can. And that's what you're now doing. So take us through that next stage. They changed the deal on you for those affiliate marketing courses, and you started creating more of your own things. And you started setting up lessons for students, right?
Yes. So back in early 2019, this was all happening. So at this stage, I had another baby and I was back on maternity leave again. So, it seems to be a pattern with me. Why not start a new arm of the business? So once this decision had come down from this course, I was really at a crossroads, and I thought, man, what am I going to do? Because I don't see a future, essentially, with the direction I was going with those courses. So I decided, instead of letting this challenge really crush the website, to manufacture a solution. So I didn't have the capacity to teach, once again, and I'm not actually a qualified teacher. I don't have the qualifications to do that myself anyway. So really the only solution that I could think of would be to outsource the teaching by collaborating with another musical entrepreneur. And so I found Monique, who is my tutor.
That's very cool. So what was Monique doing when you found her that she was interested in your offer?
Well, so we were actually connected. I had to find her. I didn't actually know her beforehand. So I went back to my own flute teacher from high school. Been many moons since we'd spoken, so I surprised him out of the blue and said, "Do you know anyone who would like this crazy idea?" So he sent me Monique's details, and I got in touch with her and explained, "Hey, do you want to be part of pioneering an online flute studio?" And I really wasn't sure what she would say, to be honest. But she came on board. She participated in the experiment, and thank goodness. So she does the online teaching whenever it suits her, and I deliver her through my website, my email list, my efforts on social media, as well as paid advertising. I deliver her the leads, the registrations of interest in lessons, and from there people enter into a trial lesson, give us a go, see how they like us, and then we can offer them some ongoing lesson packages. So that's how it works in a nutshell.
And then you must take a commission from her lesson fees or something.
Yes, I do. So there is a cost, of course, associated with bringing these people to her.
Right. Well, but the advantage for her, of course, is that she doesn't need to do any marketing, maintain websites,
absolutely.
Email people, post on social media. So, there's great benefits there too.
Absolutely. I really thought that this is a win-win solution. Who doesn't want to have to work hard to get students? And it is a bit of effort that I put into, and I'm of course still tweaking my approach to make it as efficient as possible. So yes, she gets a little bit of insight as well into how the business runs, because we're kind of pioneering this together. I'm leading, but it's totally transparent, and she sort of sees everything that goes on. So I think it's a great opportunity for her as well to gain insight into, how do you do business, music lessons online.
It's a partnership of sorts too.
Yeah.
Does she also teach her own students at home or something?
Yes. So once again, she's an entrepreneurial sort herself. So she's a music teacher at school. So she has that line of work. She has a full-time job, just like most other people. She does the teaching for me in the blocks of time that suit her. And she does also have a private arm of her own expression of music lessons and things that she does. So she's coming at it from a couple of different angles as well.
As so many of us do. Always multifaceted music teachers.
Yeah, you kind of have to be, don't you?
You do, yeah. This episode is proudly supported by my newest course, the Teen and Transfer Teaching Toolkit. Do you sometimes struggle with teenage students? Are they hard to find music for? Do they sometimes lose interest quickly? And maybe they don't want to get involved in recitals and you just don't quite know how to approach things? Well, I've put together 20 years teaching experience into this new course in order to help teachers connect and inspire all their teenage and transfer students. Over 8 modules, we'll cover all the basics about your approach. We'll then go deep into repertoire that teens love, because that's a huge challenge for lots of teachers, including myself. And then we'll cover lots of information about the importance of goal setting and what milestones to aim towards. Then we'll unpack the first lesson with a beginner teen and then how to approach their ongoing lessons. I'll give you handouts of interview questions to ask before they start, and then what to do step by step in lesson 1. Then we'll look at the first lessons for transfer students, where I'll give you a complete diagnostic checklist to help with the hardest question of all: what does my transfer student actually know? You'll be able to download that and use it with all your transfer students from now on. And we'll then wrap it up with a look at my favourite technology for teaching teenagers. This will be a life-saving course for many frustrated teachers around the world, and it's available right now as part of Top Music Pro membership. Join us today and get full access at topmusicpro.com. So look, I think this is a really interesting case study in how teachers could build teaching businesses without teaching 40 hours a week or 300 students or whatever it is. There's a lot of teachers out there either really burning themselves out by trying to teach too much, or they teach a good number of students, but they've got a huge waiting list. And so you're actually running a business without doing any teaching at all, which is taking that to another whole level. So what are some of the challenges, I guess, that you've found in this model? Or is it all roses?
Well, yes, so it is an unusual model. And to me, exchanging your time for money it's a huge limitation. I mean, we're all human. There's only 24 hours in a day. And so my whole idea behind this type of model was to multiply myself in a sense, and as much as possible generate some passive income. So I'm not exchanging my time for money one-to-one. There is an exchange. It's not that I sort of sit back and let Monique do all the hard work. I am not teaching. I am not in the classroom. So the big challenges, personally for me, it is finding enough time to dedicate with young children on the project. And so I am...
And full-time study. PhDs are not something you can do in your sleep, right?
So I am juggling a few things at the moment. So there are some late nights for me. It's just the season I'm in at the moment, but it is tiring, but I really want to push this and see it through. So there are those limitations on my time at the moment that are challenging. The other challenge for me is I market to a cold audience. So I'm not connected to a school, not that I'm suggesting, but where there's sort of a stream, an easier stream of students perhaps into your music studio simply because you've got the interaction there with students right in front of you every day. So there are some challenges to marketing to people who don't know you. It takes time, it takes effort, and it costs money. So getting the balance of paid advertising right has taken some time for me. You don't want to be spending all your profit and all your time generating leads and getting people into the studio only to make no money yourself. But that does take time and testing, but I'm starting to get there now.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's very easy to spend a lot of money on building audiences, because you've really got two options if you're running an online business with your marketing. You can either build an audience yourself through content, which you've done, or you can buy audience, buy people to come and look at your things, and we call that paid advertising. And so you're currently balancing that and saying, well, look, I could spend $1,000 a month on Facebook ads, but if I don't get $1,000 a month in profit back, then it's not going to be worth it. And so that's always a juggling act that we have to do if we're going to do on any online marketing, but particularly in your case, because you've got the margin that you need to uphold. That's it's going to be quite it's going to rely on a lot of content and a lot of information being out there about you to find enough people that may be interested in what you're offering, I guess. So that's always going to be a challenge.
That's right. Yep. And it's taken time to get to this point as well. So, I started in 2016. So there's been several lead years of audience building and building trust with those people. They need to know me and trust me and see me as a real person. It's really funny. We had a student just join our studio 2 weeks ago or something. She found me on YouTube and she thought it was kind of hilarious that I was a real person, So, when it comes to generating traffic, you are right. I think taking a few approaches, not relying on one stream is really important. Google algorithms, they change on you. Social media trends change. Your Facebook account gets shut down oh gosh. So, I do that combined approach to get the bulk of my traffic through and as targeted as I can through those strategic choice of subjects and keywords, as well as some paid advertising, because you just have to fast track sometimes. The organic traffic is great, but it is slow and it is gradual.
It takes a while to build, that's right.
And it takes time to build up. So you do have to be realistic about that.
So have you had any of your potential students go, well, where's Christie? Why isn't she teaching me? Who's this Monique person? Because I imagine if I put my hand up and said, hey, come and join Tim's music studio, but Bob over here is going to teach you, they might go, what on earth's going on here? Has that been an issue, or is that just very clear in all your marketing that it's not you teaching? I
totally hear what you're saying, because I do put myself as the face of Flute Coach, and I lead the the social media things and all the communication. And it's Monique who's doing that classroom work. So I do try and make it very, very clear from the beginning when people, hit my webpage to learn more about my lessons, that I'm introducing Monique and her qualifications and exactly what the first lesson will look like. People do get nervous trying to jump in with a new person that they don't know, online as well. You've got the little uncertainties that come with the technology to overcome too. So I do try and make sure that I'm am clear about Monique doing the lessons, and I also give them a chance to connect before the lesson by email so that they can chat amongst themselves, send sheet music that they want to look over in their lesson, like give them the opportunity to build that relationship there too. But it's a good question.
Yeah. And how do you make sure that Monique's doing a good job and she's working at a level that you're happy with and saying the right things for the Flute Coach's branding?
Yeah, good question. So even though Monique does the lessons completely independently to me, I mean, I don't see the lessons, I don't record them or watch them afterwards and make sure she's doing a good job. I think it's helpful to students to have me as a separate person, a separate point of contact that they can speak to. So it's not just one person who's the boss and running the lessons and it's sort of my way or the highway. That second point of contact, which is me, is just there if they need me, and they can speak to me privately should an issue arise, which it hasn't. Honestly, I ask people if they like the lessons. So
okay,
once
that's very good.
I keep it pretty simple. So once people go through a trial lesson, a 30-minute trial lesson, it's me that's following up with them. Monique doesn't do that. I do that independently of her, and just getting a conversation with them about did they like the lesson? Did they feel it was helpful? What did they get out of it? And just be really real with them. I don't do surveys or things like that. I suppose I could, but one of the metrics of success, I suppose, is the rate of conversion of people from that initial trial lesson into the ongoing paid packages. And to me, that's proof that she's doing a really good job. So honestly, I don't worry about it too much. If I saw a big change in people sort of not moving forward with an ongoing relationship with her, it might tweak me that maybe something's up, but it's not something I continually monitor, if you know what I mean.
And what packages do you offer new students once they have done their free trial? Do you pay by the month or buy 10 lessons? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's a couple of options. They're really simple. I have changed these over time as well, tested which ones sort of work and don't really work. I have 3 options, kept it really simple. Packages of 3 lessons, of 6 lessons, and of 6 30-minute lessons and 6 one-hour lessons. So really simple. Most people, can't afford an upfront payment of a term's worth of lessons. So we just keep it six weekly. It's affordable and manageable for most people. And because I'm normally targeting the sort of the adult learner who, we have busy lives and you're not always able to commit to a weekly lesson 3 or 4 months in advance. So one of one of the ways I try and set myself apart is that I give people the flexibility of not being locked into a regular lesson day or time. So the calendar system that I use, they get access to the calendar once they've paid for their lessons, and they are free to go in there and just, pick lessons ad hoc. Of course, we kind of encourage people to come back regularly and not once every 3 months.
Yep.
Sort of defeats the purpose. But that's one of the ways I think I set myself apart, that if you have a job that is demanding on your time, if you have family commitments and things, if you travel a lot, that these types of my online lessons, which give you that flexibility, are a good fit with your life.
Yeah, Tom Donald from the London Contemporary School of Piano, he's one of our expert teachers, and he does the same thing when he markets lessons, particularly to international. He does a lot of international marketing for adults coming to London on holiday, which works surprisingly well. And he does the same thing. He says you're buying a package of 5 or 10 lessons. You choose when you're going to use them. And I think that is a really great way to run things for adults in particular. But I guess you've got to be careful of tracking, making sure you track that effectively, and also that there's perhaps an expiry. Do you expire those lessons eventually?
Yes, so with the 6-lesson packages, they get 3 months to use them. So it sort of works out that it's a lesson a fortnight, on average, a little because we do want people to progress and learn skills as effectively as possible, and to be having that regular feedback to reinforce the lesson concepts. You can't do a lesson once a month and expect a certain set of results. So we do encourage people that, once they're in, to keep coming back when it suits them within reason. So, yeah, we do put an expiry around those lessons.
It sounds like you've been pretty lucky with Monique. She sounds like a great person to have as part of your business. When, if and when she has too many students and can't take any more, and you've still got a waiting list, have you got any ideas of where you might look next for teachers? Because that is always going to be a challenge when you're hiring other teachers to teach for you.
Yes, well, it's a great question because it's one I've been thinking about a little bit. So we do a lot of international marketing as well. So not just in Australia do we have a presence, but actually in the US. So the students that we have in the studio right now, we've got some from the US, New Zealand, Australia, Hong Kong, and the UK.
So it's a great advantage of online teaching.
That's right. It's awesome. And so one of our challenges at the moment is time zones. Okay. So the UK and the US are the worst time zones for us. And so we find that we are a little bit limited in the availability that we can put up on our calendar. I'm not expecting Monique to get up at 3 a.m. to give a lesson, but sometimes that's the time that we need someone in the studio. And so having this online platform in place means that I could very easily grab a tutor from the UK or a tutor from the US and basically have teachers teaching around the clock for me. So while I'm asleep, they're in the UK teaching a lesson in their morning or over in the US. So there is this massive capability or capacity to expand and grow. I don't see too many limitations on it other than running out of students or running out of tutors. And
that's it though. They're the two things that will prevent you from scaling. And I think probably the teachers are the harder one to get the good teachers potentially.
I think finding the right person to join you on your online venture, if you decide to sort of do the same model that I do, is really important. They are going to represent you. So they need to represent the culture of your business. You know what I mean? Like they do need to be the right fit. And they also need to be prepared for a little bit of a pioneering and experimental phase, because as you set these things up, you know, inevitably there are changes that you need to make. There's always tweaks and, you know, steps on the evolutionary scale. And so to have someone that is open to change and entrepreneurial in that sense is really important. So that's my advice.
That's great. Well, speaking of advice and also speaking of courses, you were talking about those earlier. You've actually decided, well, I'm not doing that affiliate course marketing. I'm actually going to create my own course now to talk about some of these strategies around automating your business and online marketing. So tell us what you've created and how you went about making that.
Yeah, so I mean, the in-person lessons have always been the gold standard for music teaching in general. And, you know, 99% of teachers would rely on this model, you know, regardless of which instrument you teach. And now we've come to this moment in time with events unfolding as they are, where your capacity to teach that way has been effectively, you know, it's been wiped out. And a lot of people's income has been really hit hard by this. And it's a situation that's prolonged and uncertain. You know, we don't know when we'll be able to go back to the old model of teaching again. And depending on where you are in the world, that journey is different as to where you are. So having my online presence and my online platform already in place meant that my studio basically kept going without a hitch. It was really shock-proof to the big limitations that were put on, you know, the bricks and mortar studios everywhere. And so I've gained students during this time, and it just really clicked. You know, I have this great model that can literally be used by anyone offering any type of private lesson, and they can drop it into place really quickly. They can maintain the income from that stream, and also importantly, you know, retain the relationships with your students and the learning momentum that you've been working on, because, you know, some students are hard. You don't want to let them go. And so I've quickly put together a short course called the Online Studio Jumpstart. And that is it's essentially a blueprint of my calendar connection, emailing, cash payment system that's really the hub of my online studio. And so if you've got existing students that you are having difficulty continuing to teach because of what's happening right now, this online sort of platform, you can pop that in place and you can continue doing what you're doing.
And I've had a look at the course, and I do appreciate, like me, when I explain things to teachers, I want to give them pretty much everything. So, and you go in and do exactly the same thing. It's like, here's where you click. This is the software I use. That's what you click on here. This is how you set this up. Here's my funnel, and it's all laid out beautifully. So, congratulations for your first course. I think you've done a fantastic job. And where can people find it?
Yes. So the course is located at www.theflutecoach.thinkific.com. So Thinkific is actually the online platform that I've chosen to host the course. So it's there, and any future courses that would be created, they're all there. That's the site page for these online training resources.
That's great. And so Christie's main website is theflutecoach.com. I think I'm right in saying that.
That's right.
And I do love the scalability of this as a model. I mean, it really does have a lot of potential once you've got those systems in place. As long as you can keep pouring new leads into the top of the machine, and make sure you've got enough teachers to teach and the quality is enough, and you keep the retention high enough, then you could scale in all sorts of different ways, and particularly with the online model as well, giving you that option to teach in other countries and different time zones. I think it's really clever what you've built, and I'm so glad that you've been able to share that with us today. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. It's been a real journey and a labour of love over a couple of years, and it's really all started to come together. And I mean, now was the perfect time to share it, to be able to help other music educators just keep doing the great work that they're doing with their students.
How inspiring was that? I do love how Christie's been able to both train herself and learn online and teach herself things, test things out, pivot to new ideas, and she's continuing to evolve her models. And I think it's just such a great lesson for anyone who's interested in both diversifying and potentially building income streams on the side, but also for teachers who may be looking for a different way to teach, or perhaps they've just happy to wind back their teaching a bit and get some other teachers in their studio. I do have a course that I created last year called the Music Teacher Startup course. And if you're not familiar with this is a incredibly detailed course about how to create on and sell products online. This is a 10-module course with a huge number of bonuses and handouts. And this is actually available to anyone on our Evolution plan in Top Music Pro membership, which you can find out about at topmusicpro.com. So if you've got any interest in online marketing, building your studio numbers to a global audience, or perhaps you've got sheet music or courses or products or services online that you'd like to sell, you want to build an audience, you want to know how to launch products online, then that is the course for you. As I say, it's called Music Teacher Startup. And you can get that in one of our Evolution plans. And also, if you haven't caught up with the Teen and Transfer Student Teaching Toolkit course in membership, then make sure you join us. The feedback we've been getting has been extraordinary. And it really just goes to show how much of a challenge and struggle teaching teenagers and transfer students can be. And they can be very hard to keep in our studios, particularly if they're joining as a beginner. So the approach is utterly critical that you take. And that's what we cover in Module 1 in real depth. And one of the things that members have found most valuable in this course so far is the transfer student diagnostic. So I've created this checklist. It's multiple pages. You can download and print it. When you get your transfer student in for that first lesson, it just takes you through all the things you should be looking for and asking them to do to really make a good assessment as to where their strengths and weaknesses are so that you can plan the most effective lessons moving forward. We also cover all that you need to know about incredible repertoire suggestions, what students are looking for, where to go online both for free and paid music, and also technology that your teenagers will really resonate with. So that's all available in our Top Music Pro membership. Okay, so next week on the podcast, we've got a Top Music Pro member, Jeff Davidson, coming in to talk about how he has reimagined and developed his studio, his music school, in fact, over the course of the last few months with all the challenges that have been going on in the world. Jeff has been pivoting and changing and adapting and not only just taking everything online, but also looking at what's the future got in store for him and his music school. We'll talk about things like online recitals, but also the mix of whether you're going to stick with online lessons or go back to in-person lessons when the current crisis abates. So we're going to go into lots of detail with that. I'll look forward to seeing you then. I'm Tim Topham, and you've been listening to the Topcast from topmusic.co. I'll see you next time. For more information about this episode and to find out how to enhance your own teaching, visit topmusic.co. You'll find everything you need for your studio, from lesson plans to cheat sheets, quick win teaching ideas, and guides on how to build your teaching business. Plus, you'll be connected to a global community of the world's top music teachers. And when you're ready, join hundreds of other teachers around the world by becoming a Top Music Pro member and get access to all our bonus content and flagship courses. And don't forget to follow topmusic.co on social media and subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to it. That's all for today. We'll see you in the studio.